Don't do this.
It's done.
What about my ship? You can't just leave her? I have no intention of leaving her, Doctor. I will take the Lewis and Clark to a safe distance, and then I will launch TAC missiles at the event horizon until I'm satisfied she's vaporized. Fuck this ship.
Don't.
Captain Miller, the bioscan just went off the scale. It looks like the core is draining power from the rest of the ship.
Get the files. Vacate. I want off this ship.
You can't leave. She won't let you.
You just get your gear and get back on the Lewis and Clark, Doctor, or you'll find yourself walking home.
I am home.
Now, you can do horror in space.
You can, yes. We had a great argument with a lady on Twitter.
I think a lot of people had it. I can't remember. She was a journalist for some paper. Yeah. I can't remember her name, or I can't remember anything about her really. But she was really fighting about how you cannot do space itself is horror. Space is terrifying.
Oh, yeah. It's I mean, I was trying to put this into words because when we started to get down to this review, my mind automatically went back to that lady's tweet, which was, "You cannot set horror in space; it has to be set on Earth." Yeah. Which, it's not a tricky thing if you think about it. We're on a giant ball in a vast, nothingness. And quite frankly, you don't know what's out there. There could be things out there that are, terrifying.
Yeah, the fact that the universe is what it is, and it's not like Futurama where there is an edge where you can go park and then see the other dimension. It's just this. We just are. All right, it's getting very philosophical. We just are in this universe that just exists. All right, there's no reasoning to any of it really. There's the Big Bang happened, but then when you go back to the question of what was before that, it's not worth talking about. But that's why it's horrific. That's why it's terrifying. Just the aspect of space alone.
And because you get, and this is the thing where one of the simple arguments is you have. So with the science fiction genre, I love my science fiction. I love it. I'm a huge fan of Star Wars.
Who are you, by the way?
I'm T, by the way.
Oh, hello, I'm Tom. Welcome back to the Dreadcast. This is episode 28, where we'll be discussing eventually Event Horizon. As you were saying, just had to get a little intro in there.
Yeah. So, you can have... Hello again, Carl. What are you doing down there? So, it's interesting how, when obviously this person brought up, you can't have, I guess you would call it sci-fi horror. I guess it's sci-fi horror. In a way.
Yeah, but a Lovecraftian as well. But
cosmic horror, maybe? Space horror?
Yeah.
It's interesting, you kind of space horror, but then you're like, well, you can have a science fiction action film.
Yeah.
Science fiction comedy. You can have a sci-fi romance film if you wanted. All set in space, because if you think about it, you could have a space, sci-fi comedy could be Spaceballs, which is fantastic. You've then got
Spaceballs is fantastic,
Yeah. You've got your sci-fi action adventure with, like Star Wars, Star Trek. You could have a Star Wars romance. I don't really know any Star Wars romances.
You could combine all three.
Star Wars romances, sorry.
You could combine all three with comedic, action, and romance with the Fifth
Guardians
Element.
of the Galaxy.
Fifth Element. The Fifth Element is prime for all of those categories.
It stands to reason that you should be allowed to have sci-fi horror. I mean, the one thing I always liked in sci-fi films, especially like ones such as Independence Day, was how you had this big extraterrestrial force coming to Earth. It's like, right, you're ours, we're gonna have you. And yet, as soon as they touch down on our planet, they're like, water, and they collapse. And I sat there and I went, there is nothing more, terrifying than the thought of an extraterrestrial civilization. Because if you think about it, if they could what's the word?
Is that what happens? That's not what happens in Independence Day. The water.
No, I'm just.
Oh,
No,
okay.
The water one was War of the Worlds, where
that was what I was trying to think. Yeah,
they were allergic to water. But if they could somehow traverse the universe in their big spaceships, get to our planet, observe our planet without us knowing they were there, I'm pretty certain we would be fucked at that point. If you think about it, if they really were hostile to us, we would have no chance, and that's horrifying.
Yeah, it is, and this goes back to the the Voyager 1 spacecraft that got sent out decades ago, and it has a message in numerous languages, basically saying this is from
Got
Earth.
the diagram as well.
Welcome, we are from Earth, planet Earth. And so we're trying to contact alien life forms or whatever life form that could possibly be out there. But not just because of Hollywood, but as soon as if there was not an alien invasion, if there was some sort of contact that came to Earth from a mysterious entity, all the governments, all the military would be on that, rather than what the Voyager was trying to intend, as in a welcome. We're trying to contact other life forms. It's like you lied to us.
There would be panic.
Yeah.
Exactly. Our governments would probably crap themselves and go, oh, "That was such a bad idea."
Because it
seemed
like such an unbelievable aspect to begin with. Of course, no one's going to get back to us. But what if?
What is interesting is that if there is other stuff out there and they can see us, it's interesting because the further away from us you get, the longer it takes light and images and whatnot to travel. So they worked out that if you were, I don't know, certain million light years away, if you were to look at us right now, we would still be in the middle or the start of World War One.
Oh yeah.
So if there were alien life, they'd be looking at our planet going, "We're not going there. They're at war with each other. No."
Well, the Earth has been at war with each other since its existence, But I mean, if you look at the sun, every time you look at, do not look at the sun, folks.
I accidentally looked at the sun today. I'm not gonna lie. When I was out driving and I had this big spot, I was like, oh.
Well, don't do that, folks. Don't look at the sun. It hurts. But if you happen to glance at it or just pass by, that's the past you're looking at. Yeah. In theory, everything you look out in the sky is the past because of how long it's taken to get to it. This is a nice little segue. We're talking about speed of light. Yeah. This is very good. The reason we're talking about speed of light is because of today's film. Someone's birthday pick, because we have my birthday pick. This is your birthday pick, and it's one of your top 5. You talked about it back in.
It is
our top 5, our personal top 5 horror episode. Our episode on our personal top 5 horror films each, which was episode I believe 4, 5, and 6 or 5. It was one of the early episodes. Go check it out here. In fact, I'm going to try and pin it around here on the YouTube video. Click here, and you'll find it. I should probably note that down to remember to do that, and you can go find our opinion on that there. But we're gonna delve more into it now. Yes,
we're doing Event Horizon. Now this was an early, no, not an early, sorry. This was a late 1990s film. I think it was 1997 that this film came out, and it's an edited version of the film that we were supposed to get. Mm-hmm. And we've discussed this numerous times, and we're so annoyed that we never got the director's cut because it was gonna be such a mind-trippy, gory body horror flick. Yeah. But when Anderson showed it to his test audiences and I think the studio and family and friends, they all went, "No, you cannot show that," and he had to heavily edit the film to the point where he even admitted he cut so much out that his original view just got lost.
Yeah, the studio actually wanted him to take it to PG-13, not PG-14 or TV-14. No, TV-14 is PG-13, TV-14, I believe. American ratings are so weird compared to English. Like UK, you got, I don't even know if PG still exists in UK. I think it goes U, 12A.
Oh yeah. So I think it's U. No, PG still exists. UPG, 12.
12A. No, there's no 12. 12A. 12A.
is it 12A now?
12 with adult, yeah.
Oh.
And then 15 and 18. Simple.
Yeah.
I feel America has like a
They
U
got
and then
so many-
a PG-13, a TV-14, NC-17, R-rated,
MPA.
MP. It's crazy. But I think
US
this would have been R-rated. Or
Oh,
NC,
yeah,
no,
easily.
NC-17 or whatever. And the studio wanted it cut down, so they cut so much out of it. This is we must be talking before we get into it. This is, you said Anderson. This is Paul W.S. Anderson's third film. If you don't know Paul W.S. Oh, go on. Get the ratings in.
So these are the ratings in, I think, the US. Obviously, there may be more. So you have G for general audiences, which would be RU.
Yeah.
PG is the same, so that's fair enough. Although I'm going to just segue quickly here.
Yeah.
I took the Mrs. Kids to see The League of Super Pets a few months ago.
Yep.
It's a PG film, all right? And the amount of times that they cut out the F word, they bleeped it out of this PG film, it must have been about 4 or 5 different times.
Like for a bit.
They go, yeah. So there's one of the characters is a like for quick context. These are like pets that have been kidnapped by this pet shop or the pound, or they've been sent to a pet shop, and they all get superpowers like the classic Justice League characters. And one of them is a tortoise that can then run really fast, but she can't see anything. And she speeds off somewhere, and she lands in the middle of nowhere, and literally just out of nowhere she goes, "Huh, where the fuck am I?" And they bleep the F word out. And you're just sitting there going, this is a PG film for children. Which writer went, oh no, I'm going to stick that in? Because they then wrote that in the script. The person who allowed the script went, yeah, that's okay. They then recorded it all. And it was only after they did all this did someone go, you are aware this is a kid's film, right? Yeah, you're going to have to censor that now.
I mean, PGs were... I remember PGs in the 90s and 80s especially were a lot more lenient.
Yeah.
A hell of a lot more lenient.
They probably were. But it's
for
just
nowadays, that's very odd.
If you're going to just bleep it out, you may as well just, when you wrote it, just someone just be like, yeah, no, you can't have that in there. No, just put, where on earth am I?
Yeah.
But there you go. Little segue. Then you have PG-13, which I'm assuming is
it's like a
12A.
Yeah.
This is when it gets weird. You have R for restricted, which means no one under 17 can see it without a parent or guardian. And then
that makes sense. Yeah.
Then you have NC-17 for adults only, but then surely you would be 18 for that.
Okay, so R is similar to the 15 we have here. NC-17 is similar to the 18 we have here.
Yeah, but this is interesting because the R-rated one, you can be any age so long as your parent says it's okay. So if Event Horizon was so under 17s require accompanying parents or adult guardians, contain some adult material. Parents are urged to learn more about the film before taking their young children to see it. So if this film, Event Horizon, got a R for restricted, and some, Bobby, the 8-year-old, went, I really want to see it. The parent went, oh, right, I'll take you to see it. They could just literally go, yep, I'm allowing him in. No.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I always thought an R was higher than NC-17.
18.
Yeah.
I think that maybe I think they had one which was like a max, like a max rating.
Yeah.
Which was basically like, this will offend pretty much, like the South Park. This will offend everyone.
Yeah. Well, I have actually have the 2-disc DVD here, which I've had for quite a while. This is the UK release, so this is an 18. This is you see there, folks, 18, and we've got on the back saying strong language, violence, and gory scenes. So yeah, and it would have been worse.
It would have been, exactly. I actually looked up. We'll get to this. We'll get into it in a little bit because I have the IMDb page up for Event Horizon, and the stuff that this man filmed.
Oh yeah,
it was so. I mean, they had to hire. They hired actual amputees for some of it, and they hired adult film stars to film certain bits.
I can know which bits probably. Yeah. I can tell which bits.
It was insane what they filmed, and sadly, we may never get to see it. But apparently, a copy has surfaced which contains the original, the intact film. Actually, has resurfaced in 2017. Someone found a VHS and went, "It's got the entire film on it."
Well, that's the thing. When you say VHS, because I watched. By the way, you mentioned Anderson just before we get into this. Paul W.S. Anderson. If you don't know who he is, he directed all the schlocky Resident Evil films. This was his third film. He did an indie film in a small independent called Shopping First, but then he did Mortal Kombat in '95, which is a film that it's not great, but it has a cult-like following, and I like it because I'm a video game nerd. So this is his third film, and it's not bad for a third film. It's quite a good little entry. Anyway, we were saying, what were we talking about before I started talking about Paul W.S. Anderson?
He actually has done quite a few. He is quite prolific in horror films. So
yeah.
Mortal Kombat, kind of maybe not horrorish, but you did Event Horizon. Then yes, we had Resident Evil, Alien versus Predator. He did Death Race. Oh my God, he did the Three Musketeers.
You're not painting him in good light. He's not. This is.
He also did Dead or Alive. So
yeah. This is all not really painting him in a very good light.
No, I take that back.
Yeah.
Oh, he did a Doom 3 commercial. So,
The thing you said about VHS that resurfaced. So I watched some of the special features on this, which is actually really fascinating, especially the commentary track. And he talks about how some of the extra footage, not all of it, but some of it is on a VHS. It's only on video in really bad quality. But then I don't think it ever got really talked about, but there must be negatives somewhere as well of the hidden footage.
Well,
because everything else is in a Transylvania salt mine, just rotting away, basically.
Yeah. They do believe that they've. I mean, I can't remember who it was. It was W.S. Anderson and someone else. I can't remember who he was, but they as they go around the world with their films, they would find copies of Event Horizon.
Yeah.
Like they said, in random places like a Transylvanian salt mine, and they take them and they'd be like, okay, right, well, we can salvage this part of it, but the rest is too damaged. And sadly, most of the footage they've been finding is too damaged.
Yeah.
But it has been reported that they are making a TV series of Event Horizon, a redo of this film by the same studio.
What's the source on that?
I don't know yet. I have to look it up, but apparently the guy making it is Adam Wingard, who has done such things as The Blair Witch,
Adam Wingard,
Death Note, and Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So he also did a film called Autoerotic.
Yeah.
He's done some interesting. He's also doing the next Godzilla vs. Kong sequel. So there
he
you go.
is. Yeah. He signed up for that. So
okay.
What do you remember? What number this was in your top 5?
Oh, I'm probably gonna say it was number 1.
So this is your favorite horror film of all time?
No, but it's my top 5 was not really done by my most favorite. It was more by impact that it had on me.
You just said it was number 1.
Well, I can't remember. My top 5 is fluid. It changes all the time.
Oh, right.
But for when I watched it, I was not 18 when I watched this film. Yeah. So it was a little bit of a moment because I think we were saying before we recorded, it's not scary. It's not that scary.
No, it's not.
I would say there are 2 Event Horizon films. The one you can watch, and the one you can't watch. So the one we watch, this one, I would say it's more of a sci-fi thriller mixed with a bit of action adventure in it. The one that we can't watch, the director's cut, that would have been pure sci-fi horror if they could have made it, I would say. Purely for what they wanted to put into it.
Yeah, I can see that. It would. We don't know. We're speculating here. It's just speculation, conjecture, that it would have been more horrific and possibly scary. But I think one thing that would have continued throughout, and there's probably going to be a continuous trait through both versions, is Paul W.S. Anderson's schlocky inputs, such as slow motion cuts when an explosion or action scene is happening, when an explosion happens and someone dives through the air, whoa, and then the really cheap explosions are happening behind the character, which look like sparklers going off. The sound effects on some of the scenes are really bad and cheesy. There's a scene, and I'm getting into this right now since we're talking about the versions. There's a scene where Weir is already evil, Sam Neill.
Space Satan.
Yeah, and he's sat in the cockpit, and altercation happens. I believe it's Cooper who's outside. I'll get up to Cooper in a bit. I have a rant on him. And basically, the window bursts in the bridge, and they're holding on for their lives. And as the window bursts, obviously everything gets sucked out into space. But I think an empty canister gets knocked off, and as it's flying through, it goes, it's hitting sides of the wall. It's going boing, 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 ting, 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 and it sounds so comical. The sound, so you add it. Paul W.S. Andersons is a very schlocky director. I mean, you look at the later Resident Evil films. First one's good, but
they got so bad.
They get bad. And you look at Alien vs Predator. Alien vs Predator has some slow motion action scenes. He's a very schlocky director, but he sprinkles it throughout his film. You get rid of some of those aspects, and you get rid of the Hollywoodness of it. I think you could have a scary film.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I watched this for the first time, I found it terrifying because it's more of a film that deals with, it's more a film about consequences, and the main themes of this film is you have effectively the consequences of playing God, which they apparently do in this film, and it goes horribly wrong. You've got grief. There's a lot of grief with these characters. These guys have some major baggage that they're pulling around.
Yeah, I mean, it's predominantly about their sins and guilts. Them having to deal with their sins and guilts once the chaos, the door to chaos/hell is open and infecting the ship.
Yeah, I like that about. This is what I thought was great about Event Horizon was. Obviously, I would say probably up to this point, the big sci-fi horror film would have been Alien, and I would say Predator Predator's a weird one. People don't know whether to class it as a science fiction horror film, or is it just a action horror film, or is it just action? Predator's weird. It's a bit of a tricky one because technically it is a space. Well, it's not really space. It's set on Earth. You see what I mean? Yeah. But all right, the main horror one in space would have been Alien at the time, and let's face it, since then, a lot of the horror films that are set in space follow the Alien. What's the word? Template. So the most recent one was Life with Ryan Reynolds, Jake Gyllenhaal, and I can't remember someone else. And effectively, they go to another planet. They find something, goes, oh, look, little cool creature, and then it effectively follows the Alien template. Whereas Event Horizon, you're not really aware of what exactly is happening. And I noted this. So it kind of leads you to believe that is it a parasite that has been brought back from this other place? Is it something to do with CO2 poisoning? Because they drop hints that, we don't have much oxygen, so could we all be hallucinating? What was the other one? Or, as they said, the Event Horizon's been missing for 7 years in some other place that they don't know about. So could it be the ship is actually alive and going, I'm just going to mess with you? Haha.
See, I disagree. I feel it does. I feel it does follow Alien and Aliens to a point at some point. It has very similar similarities. If you look at it this way, in Alien, I can never remember the exact point of the crew. Like, what's their job? Are they a salvage crew?
So
Alien? I can never remember what their job is.
US, I come out whatever the designate, the Nostromo, the US.
Yes.
Nostromo is it's a mining ship.
That's it. And when they discover the alien ship, and then they explore, they find the egg, and they bring the alien back on ship. And you don't see the alien throughout the film, and they're trying to work out what they see the baby alien, but then deaths start occurring, and because you don't see the alien, they don't see the alien, you're not really sure what's going on. Aliens, they go to the crew go to visit a colony that has near enough been wiped out by a mysterious force. In Event Horizon, a rescue team go to visit what is a crew, small colony, I guess, on a ship where a mysterious force or what have you has wiped them out, wiped them off the face of existence. You don't know what's going on, and then slowly over time, madness starts to creep in and ensue.
Yeah,
you also have the main character that, like in Aliens, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. It's 9:30 p.m. in the evening. I can't remember his name. In Aliens, the main character, who is the businessman who turns evil in the end because he did it for the money. Weir turns evil. Speaking of which,
Bishop.
No, Bishop is the android. Bishop is Hendrickson.
Oh, okay, I don't know who it is then.
But that, and also the similarities. When they are in Event Horizon, when the rescue team are in the Lewis and Clark, which is the rescue ship, and they're eventually getting into the same atmosphere as the Event Horizon, which that changes at points. The Event Horizon is sometimes in the atmosphere of Neptune, sometimes it's in orbit. Because if it's in orbit, there wouldn't be a lightning storm in orbit. That would be in the atmosphere. When they end up in the lightning storm in the Lewis and Clark rescue ship, very similar to when they are landing in Aliens in the Marines ship. They are flying through a tough lightning storm at night because that dark, cloudy lightning storm always works for intense, dramatic action scenes. If it was just dark and cloudy, it wouldn't be as exciting. So that those were my similarities to it. Felt like not a homage, but this worked in this film, let's go with it.
I don't think they shied away from their influences. They pretty much didn't. I mean, one of the biggest influences of the film is Hellraiser, to the point where
without
Clive
doubt
Barker was consulted for this film, so he even gave his input. So, and again, the director's cut would have highlighted the Hellraiser a bit more, because what we got in this film is very tame. It's you can see. I mean, it's when Weir he's fully gone. He's fully been infected by whatever is on the Event Horizon, I guess. He comes back. He gouges his eyes out. So he gouges his eyes out, and then he comes back. The Event Horizon brings him back, and he's got all the the cuts and things throughout his face, which is very much a Cenobite type design. So you can see the Hellraiser was definitely there when they were writing it.
Yeah, there's definitely influence there for sure.
I must admit, it's when they do the opening scene, and they have the little 2015. Something happened. I was like, cool. Well,
I've got it listed here. I've got it listed here.
2040.
2015, the first colony on Moon. 2032, they were mining on Mars. And 2040, the Event Horizon ship, built to research out of the solar system, disappears near Neptune, and has resurfaced 7 years after it's gone missing.
Yeah, so we've already not done 2 of those. So
no.
Just like the hoverboards from Back to the Future, which we were supposed to get in 2015, hasn't happened. So I'm already feeling thoroughly let down. But there you
no,
go.
we got those shitty hoverboards that have kind of gone out of
yeah.
style a couple of years ago. They were around for a while, and then they went.
We gotta
Now
gotta up our game.
Don't worry, we've just got dickheads on those scooters now.
Oh.
So, one of my first comments was, as a film, because I rewatched this. I hadn't seen it in a few years. It's not amazing, but at the same time, it's great. It's a really weird statement to make. And it kind of goes hand in hand with us saying, like, it's really not that scary. One thing I feel really doesn't help with it is the poster. Now, this is not the official. This is not the official poster. The official poster shows it's a really nice painting of a backdrop of Neptune and the Event Horizon ship, but that's not that scary, really. I mean, always space is scary. We talked about that right at the beginning, but as a poster for a horror film, it's not that impactful. This, I think, is much better. This DVD cover, which shows the Event Horizon with Neptune in the background, but in front of Neptune as well is the captain, the original captain of the Event Horizon, who is dead, floating in front of the front window, which is, I don't know if this was intentional, but it's like a cross. You know, it's like it kind of looks like he's crucified, which I guess might go hand in hand with the religious aspect. Look at that, YouTube folks.
Yeah, there we go.
Look at that. Now, that is a shot in the film. That's an early on shot of the original captain.
So I would say that the official poster would put an image up of it. That, like you said, the one there, the cool one there.
Yeah.
It very much reminds me of an 80s style book cover. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah.
I like that poster better because I love the older style of like 80s books where the covers are amazing. You had like a little mini picture on the front, you know, it was about so it kind of gave you an idea of like a little glimpse into what might be in the pages.
Yeah.
Whereas the one, like you said, now on that cover, you know, it's like, well, is it a religious film? Is that what it is? Are we going to those kind of depths? I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't really give away much. And also using... Yeah, I think they should have stuck with the original poster on the DVD cover because at least then it would match up. Because there is another version, which is the red cover that you've got there, but then it's green with Fishburne and Neil as well.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Neill. It's like the profiles of their face. Yeah,
that's right.
I mean that happens with a lot of. I mean, this is probably a re-release. I think a lot of re-releases, like especially VHS collection, which I've shown before. Re-releases have different covers, and like the Halloween re-release on the VHS re-release I've got is horrendous. It's one of the worst VHS covers I've got, and that's on the Instagram as well. This was... What year has this re-release come out? I can't even read it. It's so small. Doesn't matter. Not important.
Late mid-2000s, I would have said.
Well, that's the thing. It didn't come out. The film didn't come out during the DVD period. It came out during the VHS period. So it might not so much be a re-release, but more so...
That's also one of the reasons why they feel like they lost a lot of the footage was because it was made pre-DVD era, so a lot of the locations of the VHS tapes were lost before they switched.
I wonder if you can find... I wonder if you can actually... If it's a rare commodity to be able to find a copy of Event Horizon on VHS these days.
Well, it might be because Anderson said that there was a... Who was it? It was a copy of Clive Barker's some film that he did, some really odd film that he did, that turned up in basically a garage of some person who went through it and said, "Oh, I've got this like intact film of this movie this guy did." They should be going, "That is incredibly rare to have that."
Yeah.
And how much you got for it? There you go. Now, I have to be honest. Within the first, where was it? Oh, it's when our rescue crew get onto the event horizon.
Yep.
You have that. Everything is. It's weird because they've turned on the gravity, but everything's still floating around, which means they haven't turned off the gravity. I didn't really get that. So they walk in. You can see them walking around, and everything's still floating around them. But it is so heavily, very late 90s, early 2000s CGI, because you can tell it's CGI. You know it's not. It's not. What? Obviously, even if they were to make it today, it would still be CGI, but it was very unpolished, shall we say?
Do they not turn the gravity off when they get to the bridge of the event horizon? Because when they cross over from the Lewis and Clark to the event horizon, they are walking.
They pressurize it.
Yeah, they are walking, but you can see they're still walking. I'm gonna say this professionally.
They do.
like spacemen.
Yeah.
And when they get to the bridge, I think they turn the gravity on.
You're right.
Did you catch what the connecting tunnel was called from the Lewis and Clark to the event horizon? That connecting tunnel.
No, I didn't actually.
So apparently that connecting tunnel was called which I thought was quite clever, the umbilicus.
Oh yes, that is quite cool. Oh, I didn't notice that.
Wait, was it? Yeah, the airlock tunnel was called the umbilicus. Yeah,
airlock tunnel.
Like an umbilical cord.
Okay.
I thought that was quite I believe Mr. Smith mentions it. I quite liked his character.
Okay.
Speaking of characters. So I left that last one on characters because for the most part, the characters in this film, I mean, it's not a very big character-based film. It's pretty much the crew. Okay, the biggest problem I have is the tone of the film is shifted dramatically every now and then by one character. And it's not the characters. It's Cooper. It's the writing's fault because Cooper has been written. He's played by a black man, but he is written to be the stereotypical, I would say 80s, 90s, over the top black man, and it's awful. It's really bad writing on his part, and it really shifts the tone of holy fuck. We're dealing with what is it, like chaos and hell in the middle of space, and then you cut to Cooper, who is currently outside in a spacesuit, like basically doing a spacewalk.
Smitty, yeah.
Basically like, oh shit, oh motherfucker, I'm coming, motherfucker, and it's not comedic.
I had the biggest one I had was it's when the Lewis and Clark explodes and it's blown up by Space Satan Weir. Yeah. And Cooper is knocked off with part of the debris.
Yes,
and he's
spinning.
Just floating away going, oh, it's like, oh shit. I can't believe this has happened to me. Oh no. He's floating away. I will admit, if that actually happened to you, or like because this must be a thing that astronauts fear.
Yeah.
You've got to give it to them.
Yeah.
That they're knocked off course, or they're knocked off of, whatever infrastructure they're holding on to just float away. Can you imagine that? You'd be floating around, you're like, I literally have until my oxygen tank goes. And then that's it. I'm done.
Well, did you see Gravity?
So much. Yeah. Exactly. Well, there is there is a plot hole in Gravity.
There is.
Which is, it's the bit where George Clooney's character is holding on to her because he's like, oh, don't let me get pulled away. And everyone's like, you're in space. What's pulling you away? It's nothing.
The orbit.
Was it the orbit? Oh, okay.
I guess, because you get into the orbit and you're I'm not a space scientist, but I'm fairly certain that's what it is, the orbit.
It could be that. Yeah, maybe.
But when, like that exact moment, I was going to bring up, when he's on the debris and he's spinning and he's monologuing to himself. Oh shit, what am I gonna do? I gotta purge my oxygen tank. I gotta do that. Would they not have been taught to be calm and think this through? I mean,
well, Cooper does then become calm. He does, you know, his I guess his state of I don't know, emotions does dip.
Yeah.
To the point where you can see him going, okay, right. If I purge the oxygen tank, give it a brief spurt in the right direction, I'll go back towards the event horizon.
Yeah.
You got to give it to this man. He purges his oxygen tank so hard, he goes, he shoots off like a rocket.
The thing with that scene, though, when he does that is the scene I mentioned about, here I come, motherfucker, when he's flying through space. The camera pans round as he's flying, and it shows him flying off, and then he's flying towards Neptune. There's no ship.
Yeah.
So is the ship now back in the atmosphere, or is it in orbit? Like,
well, if it is back in the atmosphere, he's fucked, because you cannot survive re-entry in a spacesuit. You would, but even if it's on Neptune, I don't know what Neptune's gravity is like, but I'm fairly certain the force of re-entry would just cook you like that.
Yeah.
Also, the other thing about spaces is whatever speed you're traveling at, you will not slow down.
No.
So when you see him take off, he shoots off like a rocket. When he got close to that event horizon, he literally would have gone, walloped it so hard, he would have been a pancake.
Yeah, like when the Lewis and Clark arrived at the beginning, they used the front thrusters to slow the Lewis and Clark down to then dock with it. He just gently arrives at the event horizon bridge.
Cooper was designed to be the comic relief in this film, which is weird.
It failed.
Because you're making a sci-fi based horror film.
Yeah.
All right. In horror films, yes, there's a little bit of comic relief, but it's mainly dark humor. It's a sort of a, ha, we survived, and oh, there we go. But Cooper's bit, when he gets to the event horizon, is, oh shit, I can't stop. And then again, like you said, oh, I've stopped.
It's also, it's a good point you mentioned about that. You do sprinkle in the old comedic aspect, but it's not normally sprinkled in throughout like Cooper is. It's normally first act, bit of the second, then we start to get more serious. This is and this is probably of the era. Not saying it's a good thing; it's a very bad thing. This film with its sexual harassment right at the beginning, with Cooper again. He's just a badly written character. He's offering coffee around.
Stark, yeah.
And to Starks, hey Starks, would you like something? Is it
hot and black?
Hot and dark, or hot and dark inside of you? And he says it with such ego and confidence that he thinks she would just be like a builder catcalling a woman, thinking the woman will go, oh, he's the one.
It's the when it's the camera pans off and then you hear him going, oh, how about some coffee then? Yeah. It's like, okay.
He's a really badly written character.
If Event Horizon was designed to be a horror comedy set in space, it people wouldn't bat an eyelid. Like, well, it's a horror comedy. He's part of the comedy. Yeah, it's fine. But
what?
Yeah. The end bit I had though was that daft moment where he was flying off and he was just so chill. Oh shit.
Yeah.
I've been panicking so hard.
Talk about comedic timing, comedic aspects though. Funniest part of this film, which is timed so well by Lawrence Fishburne. I don't think it's intentional, but it's quite funny. It's so far past the point of this is a comedic line. It's just funny because this is so fucked up. It's when they're watching the footage of what happened to the original crew, which can be another segue in a minute because I want to talk about that footage because that footage is nuts of the original crew. Yeah. And so they're watching it, and he just presses the stop and goes, "We're leaving." It's like deadpan face. You've just seen the most horrific shit anyone could ever watch. Stop. Yep, we're out of here. It's just perfect timing. Yeah. and I don't think it's intentional to be a comedic line, but it worked so well.
Lawrence Fishburne he's got such a great camera presence.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was on a ship like Event Horizon with this man, and the dude went, "We're leaving," I'd be like, "Okay, I've got my bags packed. Let's go, man." This man says, "We're leaving. We're leaving." Because there's another moment which is Weir. No, Weir is in the film. Dr. Weir designed the Event Horizon for its secret project, which is to use a gateway to explore other realms of.
Yeah, the story's quite vague, at times.
And there's another great moment with Lawrence Fishburne where he's saying, right, he's telling me we're leaving the ship. The ship is something bad's happening. Justin's almost dead. Something happened to him. We're either all going mad because of CO2 poisoning, or there is something happening on the ship. We're all seeing things. We've got to go. Dr. Weir goes, no, we can't leave my ship. We have to find what's going on. And he just turns around to him and goes, Weir, fuck this ship. We're out.
Yeah, I wrote that down. Yeah, fuck the ship.
Fuck the ship. We're just standing going, oh. And he's like, crew, we're leaving. Especially
because the whole time Weir's been talking about the ship as you do with boats. It's like it's a lady. She, you refer to it as she. And is Lawrence Fishburne's character called Miller?
Yes, Captain Miller. Yeah. So
he doesn't even describe it as she. It's just fuck this shit, fuck this machine.
Yeah.
We're out of here.
I would say the characters in this. I wouldn't say there's any. Obviously, Cooper's a bit annoying.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, it's not the actor's fault. It's just the writing for him was very much. You're the comic relief. Anything you
completely.
say has to be funny.
Yeah.
And it does jar it a bit. So we've got We've got Captain Miller.
Yeah.
We have Stark. Jodie Richardson. Cooper. We have Justin.
Justin's the baby bear.
Baby bear. You have DJ Trauma.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, he's not actually a DJ. he's the trauma consultant or whatever.
When he introduced himself, it's like, "My name's DJ. Occupation trauma."
Yeah.
And everyone finds it really funny. You have Mama Bear. I can't remember her actual character's name though. It's a bit annoying.
Yeah, I
think she's the medic. She's one of the medics anyway.
Mr. Smith.
And then you have, Mr. Smith, Smitty. I like Sean Pertwee.
Yeah, I like him. He's a good actor. I think he's in Equilibrium.
He's the only one that doesn't go on the ship because he immediately thinks something's wrong here.
Yeah,
he doesn't get on it.
No, he does. He does. There's a scene where they are in the room with the gravitational device that opens the black hole, the main sphere, and there are CO2 canisters there that they're stealing, and she specifically says, "I need 25." And they're rushing. Miss Smith grabs the bunch, runs off back to Lewis and Clark, while she stays because she sees her son, the vision of her son, which is her sin and guilt, which leads to her death, which is the medic again, who we don't know the name.
Yeah,
that's the only point he's really on the ship. He's not on the ship for the exploration parts, the discovering what happened to the crew.
Oh yeah, he does not care.
No, he's really on the ball of, this didn't seem right. Let's not mess with this. Let's get the hell out of here. He's actually one of the few that really is kind of on the ball with it.
Yeah, Smitty pretty much. Obviously, when I can't remember how it happens, but I only watched this film yesterday and today. My memory's terrible though. So basically, the Lewis and Clark is docked, and they suffer. I think they suffer a bit of damage. I think during some sort of lightning, thunder, the Lewis and Clark is damaged. Until they realise that if they don't fix it, they will be stranded on the Event Horizon, of which, apart from Dr. Weir, no one really wants to do that. They want to get in and get out as quickly as they can. To be fair, and there's a great moment between Weir and Miller, which is the whole point of the Lewis and Clark going to the Event Horizon is to rescue the crew find out what happens to them, and salvage anything of use they can get. Weir obviously goes, right, well, the Event Horizon was not destroyed. It wasn't a, I don't know, mining vessel, whatever it was, but it was a, top secret super project that opened a gateway to somewhere, disappeared, and now it's back 7 years later. Yay. To which Miller replies, we're leaving because the crew are dead. They all killed themselves, or something killed them. There's nothing here we need to take back. We're going.
Yeah. I think you got it. Yeah. Yes.
Smitty is then like, cool, I gotta fix it. I must admit, I lost my train of thought there. But I now realise it was because Smitty is the only one who goes, I will fix the ship, but as soon as it's fixed, we're out of here.
Yeah, like he's on the ball. He can see clearly what's going on, which I think any sane human would see, especially when you're, however far Neptune is away from Earth, and you've got one ship to get back. You're not going to mess around with whatever the hell's going on. One slip, and you don't get 3 strikes here. You get one minor strike, and that needs to be it. It's space. You don't fuck around in space.
That's harking back to this lady's tweet. This is why you can create horror films in space, because if you're on Earth, and I don't know, you're driving in the forest, you get a bit sleepy, you doze off it, you wake up, and you banged your car into a tree. It's like, oh, okay, well, shit. Crashed my car. I'm fine, however. I'll walk somewhere and I'll get help. You bang your spaceship in the middle of space, and you're leaking oxygen. You are kind of you're in a tricky situation, because you have to then either fix the leak or accept your fate, which is, I'm going to suffocate, and there is no one that can help me.
It's kind of similar to the ocean as well. If you're in a boat in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, I mean, look what happened to Tom Hanks. So the Castaway.
Yeah.
Castaway.
I was thinking of Tom Hardy. I was like, what happened to Tom Hardy? I was like, no,
definitely not Tom Hardy. So yes, so Sam Neill, who plays Weir, basically created the ship, and upon rewatch, created the ship and the device to cause the ship to be able to travel faster than the speed of light, which is impossible. But the explanation he gives, which was stolen by Christopher Nolan in Interstellar, it was completely stolen. The idea.
Yeah, it was.
Upon rewatch, you can really tell that Sam Neill's character Weir is in on it from the get-go. His mannerisms and the things he says, the way he acts, you wouldn't get that from first viewing. You would only get that he's kind of not on the level from when he starts from when he fades into the darkness of saying, we're already here, like, she's my ship. But even to begin, like, you can kind of rewatch, you can kind of tell, he really was just using them basically to get back to the hell-like dimension that he has somehow been before. Because, like I said, the story is very vague. I took the interpretation that he has been here before. He has been to this dimension before.
He's connected somehow, because the first time we're introduced to him, I think he's the first character we're introduced to of the new crew.
Yep.
He wakes up from having a nightmare of the old captain.
Yeah.
Having ripped out his eyeballs.
Yeah.
And is doing the upside down floating cross thing, and he wakes up from that. So yeah, he's either, like you said, he's either been to this dimension before, he knows about this dimension, or the Event Horizon has somehow messaged him going, hey, we're back, come get us.
I think this is a lot where the Hellraiser aspect comes into play as well, because
oh, definitely.
There's a line that he uses when he's fighting with Miller at the end, the final major fight, and he says to him, "Let me show you." When they're talking about what he wants to show him as regarding hell, just the chaos that ensues. Very similar to Pinhead with "We have such sights to show you."
Yes.
So they want to show you this completely unimaginable other chaotic world that is just 24/7 torture, death, violence, gore, macabre, just hell. I want you to see it and experience it. That was probably to me the closest we got to Hellraiser there, just by the one line.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what when I first watched this film, it immediately just reminded me of Hellraiser, purely because it's very. Unfortunately, not the uncut version would have just been a body horror.
Yeah.
Paradise. Like I said, considering what he wanted in it, it would have been off the wall, and sad we're never going to get to see it, but there you go. And what was it? Oh yeah, that was it. Well, it was a completely different note. It's when they're in stasis, and is it Weir who's dreaming? Yeah, it's Weir who's dreaming. He's having a dream, and I thought this was interesting because when the crew travel from wherever they are to Neptune, Earth to Neptune, sorry, it takes 56 days to get there using their ion drive. So I'm guessing it, shoots them as quickly as anything to get to Neptune. And of course, this is where the alien influence comes in. They go, right, well, rather than walk around for 56 days doing not much, we'll all go into stasis. And we'll pretty much go into stasis, wake up, and be there. And I thought this was interesting because my thought was, well, if the time passes literally like that, so you close your eyes and you wake up, would your mind even have the time to process anything? Like a dream or a nightmare? Because surely you wouldn't. Because time would pass so quickly. It would be like a second. You just blink and that would be it.
Depends, because I can't remember what it was called, but DJ injects with some sort of concoction. But whether or not that has, I think that was more so to do with the his bone density, saying that in stasis, your bone density could just completely liquefy. But if you think about, have you ever had anesthetic? Say you've been out for an operation. I think there's a difference between you being knocked out completely from anesthetic, or say being unconscious, to sleeping and dreaming and your mind working. Because has anyone? I mean, I've only had a couple of operations in my own lifetime. I'm not sure I ever dreamt or had a nightmare dream, because sometimes you've had a nightmare when you're sleeping, it can wake you up. You can't do that when you're anesthetized, can you? Your mind, you're shut down. Everything is shut down. So maybe this incubation period. What would we call it? What was it? I'm sorry. Stasis period. Your bodies are completely shut down because they're also kind of hooked up to a breathing apparatus.
Yeah.
Similar to, I guess, when you're anesthetized for an operation, you're hooked up to breathing to help your body keep moving, but at the same time, not. If that makes sense, Yeah.
It's one of the things. I'm sure someone has the answer somewhere, but I was just thinking, if it was instantaneous, surely you wouldn't dream. But it could be because of the setup of the film. This is where the Event Horizon. Maybe the Event Horizon could slow down time or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it needed to feed Weir this weird type of. The Event Horizon likes to torment Weir with visions of his dead wife. Horribly.
Yeah. The whole film is really about Weir and the ship. The crew are being used for him to get from point A, which is Earth, back to, because he's clearly traumatized by the death of his wife, which is what happens in the stasis. He's sort of like this contradicts what I just said. Is it a dream in the stasis, or is it a nightmare? Because this other vision he has in the stasis where he wakes up, climbs out the stasis, and his dead wife is there. It's kind of contradicting, but the whole film is really about him. He built this mind-blowing contraption that can bend space-time so you can travel faster than light. Is he trying to get his wife back?
Yeah.
Is he trying to get to another dimension to see her again? Has he been to this other dimension where she is? Like, it's
a bit vague.
It is vague. It is vague. Unless we're just complete idiots that didn't
Missing
understand it fully.
The one thing I did notice is when they had the stasis tanks, I don't know why, but for some reason, Weir's is the only one that is labelled. Did you notice that?
Yes.
Every single stasis tank, his is the only one with a giant Weir across it. I remember watching thinking, I don't know why that is. Was that just a weird...
Maybe because he's a guest?
Could be he's a guest, yeah.
Because they're the crew, aren't they?
Because you think if it's a stasis tank, surely it's like you can get in any stasis tank. It doesn't matter. It's going to do the same thing.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
The one thing I do remember that I did sit there wondering what on earth was going on was the whole crew. Now, the whole crew at this point, when Weir is getting ready to get into the stasis tank, the whole crew are out. So who on earth is in that stasis tank already? There is someone in a tank next to him already in stasis. Did you
mean
that?
When they've actually
so
they've
when they're getting
come
changed
to
and everything? No, when they're going to sleep.
When they're
all
going to
getting
sleep.
undressed, and there is a bloke already in a stasis tank.
Right, I'm looking right now.
Yeah, it's very unusual. He's right next to him in his stasis pod before they go to sleep.
Right, I have. As I'm looking, did you know? I hate talking about this. Sam Neill's figure he has a really weird torso. He has really high shoulders, big arms, and his chest, his rib cages look like they want to come out of his body.
Yeah, I did notice that, I must admit.
Okay, so before they go into stasis, right? Is that what you're saying?
I only said this before, yeah. There's a bloke already in a stasis tank.
All right, here's his, he's escaped. Right, Miller, Smith, medic.
Yep.
Start with Miller. Oh, get out of the way, Sam Neill. That's DJ. Okay, DJ Miller. So I'm missing Cooper, Starks, and Justin.
Maybe it's
no. Okay.
Where there's a guy already in a stasis tank.
No, there is. It's Cooper. It's Cooper.
Oh, it's Cooper. Oh,
Cooper, because he's next to him.
I must have missed it.
It's Cooper.
For some reason, I sat there watching this clip, thinking, "Who is that bloke? Why is there a random bloke in a stasis tank?"
Yeah, it's Cooper, and there's Weir.
Cooper.
There's his name. There's his name, and it's quite shoddily put on. It's just a piece of silver duct tape with his name. Yeah. So it's definitely because I'd say he's the guest on the ship.
Oh, okay. Okay, that clears up. It's not some random plot hole I found.
No.
Okay.
Interesting though. It was interesting because, that would have been quite a thing to notice. Who's this extra body?
So many people were just sitting there going, "Who's the extra crew member?" It's like,
yeah.
Oh shit! Oh yeah, we forgot about him. Oops.
Everyone.
Oh, if you'd watched the director's cut version, you would have found out. But you're never going to see that now.
As far as though Cooper being probably the weak link of the cast, I think we agree both the cast, predominantly the cast, do a fair job, a good job, and Sam Neill as a villain, I think is very underrated. I think Sam Neill was a great villain because he also is a great portrayal in John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness. If you've ever seen that, great film, one of John Carpenter's best films, very underrated. But everyone thinks of Sam Neill as Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I mean
he's a great villain.
He is. He's one of these villains that his what's the word? His motives are not really clear cut. So obviously, when we first introduced to him, he's very excited. Oh, the Event Horizon's back. It's gone missing. Where's it gone? We're gonna go find out. From a scientific point of view, this ship literally vanished out of our universe. We have no idea where it went, or it vanished out of our perceivable realm of space.
Well, apart from him, he knew where it went.
he knew it was. But when we first introduced to him, he just seems to be a very excited scientific man.
Yeah.
But it's when this is where the clash of the science versus the religion comes in. So who is he talking to? Oh, it's Cooper. I think it's Cooper. No, it's Cooper. Yeah, it's Cooper. That was who it was. So when Justin's sucked into the gateway.
Yeah.
And again, it just goes to show, even in 2047, we are still. Some of us are still quite stupid. Where you have this gigantic, black hole looking thing, and you get Justin going, "Oh, I know, I'm going to touch that."
I have some points.
In.
I have some points on Justin. Yeah.
My point was, if you see something like that in a spaceship that's been missing for 7 years, maybe don't shove your fingers in it.
Yeah,
and
that's kind of the starting point. That's kind of what kicked everything off.
Oh yeah, because Cooper sees this. Cooper sees Justin sucked in.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember how he gets. I think Justin gets shot back out, and he goes to Captain Miller and says, "Look, I saw it. He got sucked into this big circular thing. He was gone." And that's when we start to see Weir is thinking a little bit different, because Weir immediately goes, "Oh well, no, it's not possible.
Yeah.
No, the core shut down. No way that happened." And this is where the past divulged, because you have Miller going, "Right, well, hang on now. It's like, right, I believe you saw something, but I'm going to trust the doctor that it wasn't that. But you saw something, so you need to tell me what's going on, because he is a great middleman to, you're right, but he's right, so you must be wrong in certain aspects, but you're also wrong in certain aspects."
Yeah, and they keep going on about, oh, you must be suffering trauma, you must be delusional. Or,
yeah.
No one ever. It takes them a long time before they start believing really what's going on, because it is Justin's intrigue into the core opening up, and the core opening up, which is again very vague. Is the ship, because of where the ship's been? Is the ship now controlled by the core like a brain in theory?
Yeah.
And once it opens up, that's when the mysterious powers come out, because it's soon after that is when everyone starts seeing their visions of the medic seeing her son, who she feels guilt leaving. Miller seeing the Burning Man. Miller seeing his old crew member that he left to burn to die in a space accident years ago.
Carrick? Yeah, Carrick.
And that it's from that point onwards that they also that kind of, it's like the gateway that opens the hell to them.
I think there's only two. We only get to see two hallucinations though. We see Miller's, we see the Burning Man, and we see the child, but we don't see Zark's. You don't get one from Smithy, but that's because Smithy never goes inside the event horizon till very last thing. Yeah. Cooper doesn't have one either.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
I think it is literally it's Mama Bear, Miller. It's just Mama Bear and Miller actually. Oh, and Weir to a degree, I suppose, with his wife.
Yeah, and Justin had obviously seen some shit when he went through the portal, because
that boy came back traumatized.
It completely changed him. It gave. Do you think Justin was somewhat possessed? Because when he's in the infirmary and then he escapes and he ends up in the airlock.
Yeah.
A light bulb suddenly goes like that, and Justin is like, "Where am I? What the fuck's going on? Where am I?"
I reckon he was. He's either possessed or. No, he must be possessed. Yeah. Again, it's unclear as to what's happening to him. He's clearly whatever's on the other side of this gateway. Wherever the event horizon, whatever dimension it goes to, whatever's in there is obviously not for a human brain to comprehend. Yeah. Because Justin says, when he's in the airlock and they're trying to get him back in, he goes, "If only you could see the things I've seen, you'd let me go." Which effectively is Justin saying, "I've seen some stuff, just let me die."
Well, that's the thing. The idea of hell, it's so unimaginable. It's the perception of hell that most people have is, the burning lakes, underground, there's no sky, pitchforks, people, there's blood everywhere, just death everywhere. Like, that's just one perception, but it's impossible to perceive what it could be, really.
So Lucifer, the TV series Lucifer, they had their perception was quite interesting, which was someone I can't remember who it was. Someone asks Lucifer, it's like, well, what's hell like? And he went, well, it's whatever you make of it. Your hell is your hell. He goes, well, what does it mean? So it's when in their version they get put in a room, and it just you play out your biggest regret again and again and again. And they say, well, can you get out of hell? He goes, oh yeah, it's very easy. So all you have to do is let it go. Just let go of your regret. You just have to forgive yourself, and the door will open. He goes, we don't keep you here. It's you. You keep yourself in hell. If you can't get out of it, that's your fault. So I thought, oh, that's actually a very clever way.
I think my favourite interpretation of hell is from a book called Barlow's Inferno. I'll link it to you now. The artwork is absolutely incredible. The artwork's incredible, but the book is very expensive.
What is it?
It's £600.
What?
But the art, you've got to look at the artwork, and folks, check it out. Just Google Barlow, Barlowe.
Damn.
Inferno. Some of the art is, and this is what I'm talking about how there's only so far your imagination can go to envision what a hell could be. And I mean, we don't know. The uncut version of Event Horizon could have gone this far. Hopefully it did. Yeah. But some of the cuts that we do see, you know, when Weir is wanting to show Miller what this other dimension is, with all the crew having been wrapped up in barbed wire, skewered by one of the spikes, maggots coming out of everything. You could be really creative with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
It's I know that when they were getting inspirations for this film, or especially for getting the uncut version, they went through art museums, and they looked at paintings of hell, and from that they went, okay, well, that's a cool idea. We'll take elements of that, and we'll smash it together for our version. Obviously, sadly, we never got to see their version.
Yeah.
But it could be maybe that the way that they were doing in this Event Horizon film is, I took it that whatever was on the Event Horizon feeds off the negativity that these guys bring in. You know, it feeds off the guilt that Miller has for leaving Carrick to die, even though he had no choice. It feeds off the regret that Mama Bear has, because she obviously didn't take enough care of her son.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't know, you don't really know what happened to the son. It's obviously the kid was disabled. You see him in a wheelchair, so maybe she didn't take care of him enough. No, sorry. She regrets not spending the time with him because Miller says that he couldn't get her off leave.
Yes, Christmas. She couldn't get Christmas, right?
She couldn't get Christmas with him, so she's already regretting not being able to spend time with him. So I would say that whatever the Event Horizon is, it takes that negativity and it amplifies it to the point where it's hard to break free. And Miller does it temporarily when he hears Carrick's voice and he stands there going, "You're not real. You're not real. This is not real."
He fights it. He really fights it.
He fights it. Whereas Mama Bear just cannot. She lets go and she just chases after the kid, because to her, it's real. It's not a hallucination. He is there. Sadly, he's not, because it's a trick, and obviously it leads to her death quite horrifically, actually.
Mama Bear's one, yeah, her death. I mean,
it is a bit cheesy because you can tell it's a mannequin that's been lobbed down the tunnel.
Falls down from above the. I'm going to keep calling it the brain, the gravitational brain.
Fair enough. And
lands on the grill, but because there's already the watery liquid substance that's underneath the grill, her impact makes it splash so high up in the air with all this blood. Yeah. It's a little bit cheesy.
I would say that the crew are infected as well, because I noticed this after Mum Bear dies, and Weir comes in. Weir's really odd at this point because at this point, this is near the end of the film. Most of these characters don't start dying until like the last half an hour of the film.
Yeah, it takes a while, yeah.
And Weir comes in, he sees Mama Bear, and he goes, "Oh no, you've died," and as he moves away, we get a shot of her lying on the floor, and her eyes are they're pitch black.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting because when obviously her body hits the floor, you get a look at her face and her eyes are normal. But as he pulls away, they've gone that like abyss black that Justin has when he's effectively taken over.
He shows a lot of emotion there as well, Weir.
Yeah, that's why I think it was odd for him, because he obviously doesn't want the Event Horizon to be destroyed or to leave.
Yeah.
But he's very sad when she dies, which is a bit out of character for him.
And especially because no one else is around to see him act in his real true form, being that... But does he want them dead? Or does he want to take them back to the dimension? That's why he's sad, because he's lost a crew member, because he wants to crew the Event Horizon again.
I don't think he wants them dead.
No.
He doesn't want them to leave, but I think because they're trying so hard to leave, obviously the ship doesn't want that either. So that I reckon the ship is trying to force them to stay. So maybe like with Mama Bear, it shows her the son to make her chase him around the ship. And it's like, right, well, if I can keep you here for longer, you won't leave. So, I would say he doesn't want them dead. It's just most of them end up dying.
Speaking of the bed, I have one point on Justin, which kind of annoyed me a bit.
Okay.
So Justin gets eventually sucked out of the airlock because his possessed self, shall we say, opens it. And then his possessed self becomes normality again. How long does it... I put the question down and I found the answer. How long does it really take you to die out in space without a suit on?
I'm gonna
what do you think?
Very quick. It's got to be seconds.
And the answer I got, this is from a scientific website.
Okay.
After about 1 minute, circulation effectively stops. The lack of oxygen to the brain renders you unconscious in less than 15 seconds, eventually killing you.
Wow, that is fast.
He took a long time just to get to the point he was at where he had lost a lot of blood. His eye sockets were bleeding. He was bleeding out of every orifice. His veins had swollen, it looked like.
Yeah, so they would have swollen up. Yeah.
That kind of bothered me a bit.
I think the veins swelling, I think that's because the blood effectively freezes in your... So effectively it would go to like hard lumps or something.
Well, let's not forget, folks, human blood inside your body is blue, so...
Oh, yeah, that was... I'm just going to give you random scientific facts that are clearly not true.
Oh, man, you said it like it was fact.
Someone told me it was fact.
Someone down the pub told me that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, dude, your blood's blue. It's like, really? Oh, cool.
They tried to sell me a dodgy DVD afterwards.
Yeah. So anyway, we did a review of Hellraiser. It's like, yeah, was it octopus blood or something like that?
It was
blood. That was it.
It's some sea creature, yeah. It was like a crab, octopus, or lobster, yeah. I thought that was funny. One thing, I think I mentioned ages ago. I love the footage we see of the crew. Because I mentioned about how Miller was watching the footage of the crew and then his comedic timing of, we're leaving. The footage itself, if you watch it slowly, is mental. Yeah, it's horrifying. And there's a few things to think about. You got to think, who's filming it? Why are they filming it? Similar to the way we talk about POV films, okay? Like people are being... There's bits in it people are being, I'm going to assume, sodomized or just completely horrifically sexually assaulted. That's in it for like a second, and it's horrible. Like viscerally and violently attacked. The captain gouges his own eyes out and is showing... he's showing the camera, so he's showing the person who's filming them. Again, back to who's filming, why are you filming, and on top of this, they're speaking in Latin, which it's a cheap thing to do, but Latin works best in horror as like the language of horror. It really does. I
have a breakdown of what was going to. They called it the bloody orgy, and I have a breakdown of what actually was supposed to happen in what. Well, so in this version, they really dramatically cut it.
Oh, you can tell. You can tell. Yeah.
I will tell you what they actually filmed in this scene before they cut it.
Go for it.
So we got members of the crew, sticking their fingers into each other's eyes. Obviously, that is something that keeps them going on. You had a female crew member sodomizing a male crew member with an iron pipe. Yep. We then you have them having violent sex.
Yeah, you see that. Yeah.
They would eat each other whilst they were doing so. There was a scene where a crewman pulls his intestines out of his mouth. Another one where one crew member is held and stabbed in the back of the head with a spike. Part of his teeth and mouth pop out. Oh, yeah, fair enough. There was one where a crew member is crawling on the floor and others are hitting his legs with steel bars, smashing him to pieces, and as he crawls away, his legs literally fall off as he's doing so.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yep. We then have a woman who has screws drilled into her teeth. This is a Terrifier bit. This is a Terrifier 2 moment. Another woman has her arm broken and torn off with a hunk of metal. Another woman has a breast mauled and then ripped off and eaten by a guy who's raping her at the same time. So this film was this scene in particular was literally this film's Terrifier 2 bedroom moment. And when he showed this to members of his family test audiences and the studio, pretty much a lot of them fainted, and the studio immediately went, "You are out of your mind if you think we're putting that in a film." So yeah, there you go.
I don't get turned, because we're horror freaks. I don't get turned away by what was described there as the blood orgy. I look more on the positive side of someone came up with this. Like, it's completely grotesque and just otherworldly and horrific that you can think of other people doing these horrible acts to other people, but some of them were so creative. I mean, I don't know if that makes us completely psychopathic and mental. Sorry if it does, but it's...
Well, I mean, the thing is some of these scenes, especially like this one, which, the infamous, orgy scene that was cut, you have to view it as, it's like, right, well, this could only happen in a horror film.
Yeah.
Well,
hopefully.
Hopefully this never happens in real life, because if it does, then that is terrifying. But that kind of level of over-the-top violence could only happen in a horror film.
Yeah.
So that's why I think whenever I see things like this, or like, because I've read the comic book The Crossed, which is pretty much that kind of levels of violence, Terrified 2.
What was the cross related to that we talked about once? The sadness? Was it the sadness?
The sadness, yes.
It was, yes.
And so I sometimes get people going, well, how can you read that? How can you enjoy reading that? I'm like, well, because I know it's not real. So, and again, it's like you suspend belief, or you suspend imagination, or something like that. And it's like, just treat it as someone, when they wrote this went, okay, let's find the most over the top thing we can think of and do it.
Yeah.
They did. Obviously, the studio went, "You're out of your mind. I'm not doing that." Which, it's fair play, because the studio that made this were the same studio that did Star Trek. And apparently, in an interview with Anderson, he said, "I think they thought that we were getting Star Trek with just a little bit of violence, not the what they came up with."
So it's
understandable.
Film?
It is, yes. So it's understandable that the studio went, "Yeah, no, we're not having that."
I mean, Paramount made a killing with they made a killing with Friday the 13th. But sorry, I was just reading something there. Yeah, they made a killing with Friday the 13th, but obviously it wasn't as gory and horrific as this. The problem is that always comes back to you make this blood orgy. Studio doesn't like it. Studio wants you to make it more not family friendly, but more everyone friendly, not kids.
Yeah.
Because the studio needs to make money. Because it always comes down to the fact it's a business, and people need to make money because it's a business. No matter what film it is, it will always come back to this, unless you're something like this, where Terrifier 2, where you can somehow get away with it.
See, I would say if Event Horizon was to be made today, and they said, "Oh, well, we've got this scene, this orgy scene that we're including. It's gonna have all of this." If it came out after Terrifier 2, I reckon most people go, "All right, cool. Let's see what you got." Because I think back in the 90s, 2000s, I reckon some studios were a bit more like, tight-fisted on their films. Whereas I think nowadays they're like, you know what? If you're gonna make it, fine. But I'll tell you what, make our version, like the studio version, and we'll ask you to cut things. But if you want to stick it in a director's cut, fine, you do that. And that would, I mean, if they had done that, and the guy said, "Look, I tell you what, the studio went, we won't allow you to put this scene in our release, but we'll allow you to do it in a director's one," we could have had the film we wanted. But unfortunately, they were so nope about it that we never got it.
Yeah, we had gorier films. We had more violent.
Oh yeah.
This is something we talked about, possibly actually with the sadness, when we did the episode on the sadness. Here it is, right here, guys. Go check this out. I'll add that card. Where I think we discussed the difference between violence and gore.
Yes, I think that was the sadness. Yeah.
And like we had gorier films before Event Horizon. I mean, Brain Dead, Evil Dead, Day of the Dead. They all kind of go hand in hand.
A lot of the 1960s cannibal films.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Yeah, Cannibal Holocaust. Yeah. But a lot of these became banned and gained their notoriety through that. They became M-BAM once Mary Whitehouse fucked off. But I don't think a lot of them had the major studios backing them. This feels more of a less. I'm trying to how to say this. It feels more of a cinema film than a home film. You know, it felt like a film that the studio wanted to get butts in seats, and try and make a profit. Try and make this a big time film. So yeah, like you said, if they had the director's cut, let's say for the cult audience, would have been cool, but that went a different way, and we'll never get that.
Yeah, unless the TV series does it, but obviously that's not confirmed. So
yeah,
there you go.
When I said I watched this, there's a commentary track from Paul W.S. Andersons talking about certain bits of the film. And he talks about a deleted scene. I don't know if you knew about this. Towards the end, where Cooper and Stark, they're in a part of the ship, and similar bit to The Shining, where blood starts filling up everywhere.
Yeah.
And where Stark is, blood starts filling up in the center tube. It's like probably 5 meters in diameter, this central tube. I don't know what it's for. It bursts, and she's washed away in slow motion again, because he's a schlocky director, by this river of blood. Cooper is shouting up from where he is in the ship. I think he's below her, and she is flushed down to him.
Yeah,
in a river of blood. Now, the deleted scene is he picks Stark up, and as they're running away, you see Weir climbing down the ladder, but face first, in his new persona, completely, skin
Space Satan.
Fucked up. Yeah, Space Satan. He's climbing. I'll link it to you. He's climbing down, similar to Reagan doing the crab walk, which was a deleted scene in The Exorcist. So they apparently they wanted to do it like that, but it got deleted. It wasn't allowed. It was too graphic. It was too bloody. They said. I mean, you already had a river of blood like The Shining. How much more bloody it could get. But it's a pretty cool. In fact, I'll do it to you now, and I can cut this. Let me link this to you now. So you've got the shot now. It's a really, really cool shot. It's really creepy because he's face down, so he's upside down, climbing down this ladder that Starks is just falling down. But because he is in theory naked, Space Satan, it's creepy as hell.
Yeah, that is weird.
And they couldn't keep it in, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a shame.
Such a great film.
Yeah, all these little things that just, if you'd have been able to keep them in, or just allow the director's cut to say the cult audience.
I would say the only gory bit that I think they were able to salvage, apart from like a few bits, like Justin's eyes bleeding.
Yeah.
Very tame ones. Probably the closest they got to full-on gore was when DJ died, and he's he's cut open and he's hung up like the Blood Eagle. He's suspended when Miller finds him.
Yeah.
Even that was cut because originally the idea was Miller would find him still alive with his intestines hanging out, and he'd have to put him out of his misery. But I would say that Blood Eagle moment is probably the closest that they got to whatever it was they were coming up with at the time.
People do that for fun, like suspension.
Yeah,
a friend of mine has experienced it. She did it in Brighton, and you have to sign so many waivers, and to
I can imagine
that, and you basically are on stage, and you are hooked into the flesh behind your shoulder blades, and you are suspended. Like you are recreating Hellraiser, okay? And that you can do this. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, each to their own.
Each to their own.
Fine. Each to their own. But if someone asked me, would you like to do that? I would say that's a hard no, because that's making my skin itch. Ugh. Oh.
I had one more point on, let's say, the plot in general before my last category of notes, which was the ship and the production design, about how, in theory, Weir got what he wanted in the end.
I didn't notice that. He does, yeah.
They blew up the ship, which I'll get back onto with the ship, because the blowing up of the ship was just, why were there explosives there? Anyway, they blew up the ship. Starks and Cooper escaped, but Weir was trapped with Miller in the control room, shall we say, which then got sucked into the black hole, which is what Weir wanted.
Yeah. So I took a note on that, which was again similar. Weir wants to go back to wherever this ship goes to.
Yeah.
Obviously, he wanted the crew, but he only got Miller. So you would think, well, yeah, like you said, he's got what he wanted. He's going back. But to me, it felt like there was something else that he needed them for in this other dimension.
Yeah, I could believe that.
And I reckon if this film had been a success, a big success, because it was a box office flop.
It was a big flop, yeah.
I reckon there could have been a sequel that would have addressed this little thing of, well, he's going back no matter what, so why is he not happy? So I reckon that he needed all these crew members for something in this other I wouldn't say dimension, I'm going to say location, because we don't know where the Event Horizon goes. So maybe that's what he was angry about, that he needed more bodies for something.
You've done a sequel or a prequel with him designing, creating, and the third act being the ship has gone off course and gone into this other dimension.
I think it'd be interesting to maybe, you couldn't do a prequel with the old crew, because I think that would kind of give away too much.
Yeah.
I would say maybe, you could see, a short bit on why Weir built the Event Horizon,
Yeah.
And then maybe it then jumps to what happens after the Event Horizon film.
Yeah.
I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah, you obviously, like I think we've discussed many times, you don't want to give the audience every single detail about an origin story about characters because it's been done to death. Like I don't need to see Bruce and Martha Wayne be killed again. I don't need to see Uncle Ben be killed again in Spider-Man.
Well, in the latest Spider-Man, we don't get to see Uncle Ben die again because apparently he never existed.
Good.
We just got it flipped and we got Aunt May instead. So there you go.
Yeah.
So I did notice one thing on my final thoughts on the ship was I thought it would be so cool to have been able to say, right, we need you to build a gigantic spaceship. I mean, how much fun. Oh, that would have been so much fun to do. But I did notice one thing. And it was a couple of the like the influences, how you say. For me, it did feel like they were influenced by the Nostromo.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of the aesthetics were kind of the same. So like the futuristic looking chairs and all these bits and pieces.
It was very dark and grungy and kind of very industrial looking, which is good for a horror ship, for should we say a horror movie ship.
The one thing I did notice though was when you look at the Event Horizon ship.
Yeah.
So it's got the big space pod at the front, the long body, and then you got the kind of the wing bits out the side.
Mm-hmm.
It looks very much like a Romulan ship from Star Trek. If you look at them, I know what a
Romulan. I know Star Trek. Yeah.
I noticed that it's when you see the ship. Yeah, I was looking at going, that's a Romulan ship. That's a Romulan ship.
Do you know what it actually is designed like?
No.
It's actually designed based on Notre Dame, the cathedral.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because cathedrals, if you look at them from a bird's eye view, are in the shape of a cross.
Oh yeah.
And if you looked at the Event Horizon from a bird's eye view, it's the shape of a cross. So you've got the bridge at the front, which I guess you could class as the entrance, and you've got the long, I'm going to call it the shaft, the shaft of the ship.
Oh, okay.
Leading to where the spire would be, which is the control room, and then you've got the two wings on the side. So yeah, it was based on Notre Dame, and I believe there are some designs of this. Notre Dame.
I did hear that in one of the what is it? The designs of the ship, that there is actually a hidden X-wing in the ship.
Really?
Yeah. I'm trying to find it now. There's a little hidden X-wing as part of an antenna array. Yeah. Oh, where is it? Model X-wing. The model of the Event Horizon includes a complete X-wing from Star Wars as part of an antenna array. The model is visible on the lower portion of the Event Horizon during the first flyby of the Lewis and Clark. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to find it, but it's proving difficult. Where is it?
That's a nice little tidbit. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The other thing it popped up here was, is there an uncut version of Event Horizon? No, there's not.
That's what everyone asks.
Yeah.
But all in all, with the ship though, I really love the design. I think it's one of the better spaceship designs, and I think it would make a great miniature, as in a model. Obviously, they use miniatures and giant models when they were doing the effects for the film with green screen backings, especially when you've got pardon me, the ship actually separating from the explosion. All that was done by miniatures. It's great, and I think that'd be a really cool to get a scale model of the Event Horizon. I'm talking maybe 600 mil long, 60 centimeters long. That would be really cool. Just yeah, it's a really nice design. The thing with the explosions though, so the design of the ship, obviously, yes, you had the bridge at the front and the long shaft, which is they're just tunnels. They're just connecting tunnels. There's nothing else to them. They're completely loaded with explosives throughout in case of somewhat of an emergency, and they need to split it and they need to separate the ship. That seems a bit drastic and overkill to include like C4. What if there's a malfunction, or what if someone goes rogue and sets it? Why would you not just have, like, I don't know, a train coupling? You know, have a train carriage separates, or something like that can uncouple the ship, like in Star Trek, where the disc can come away from the ship itself.
Yep.
It seems so overkill to have C4 everywhere.
I think, again, though, it probably was just a sign of the times. It was, it's like, right, we're making a space film. We want some explosions. It's like, all right, I'll lace the deck with explosions and blow some stuff up.
It's his excuse for schlocky action scenes again with big explosions. How can we get big explosions in? Well, we can't get that from the ship just separating. We need slow motion. Like, not Wes Anderson. Wes Anderson would have done this in animation.
Yes, he would have. I think my last sort of thoughts on this film is, it's not a conventional horror film.
Yeah.
It doesn't go out to jump scare you. It's a horror film that it's more dealing with the concepts of what if, and Smitty, he's great. He mentions this. So he goes, it's when they realize that things are going wrong, and Smitty says, you've broken the laws of physics. You've bent time. You've bent space. Why did you not think there could be a consequence here?
Yeah.
And it's the whole film deals with this. It's right. We've built a ship that can, using a black hole, can effectively take the fabric of reality and go, right, does this to it.
Yeah.
So it can go somewhere else that they have no idea where it's going. And it's like, right, well, just because we can do that doesn't necessarily mean we should do that. And again, they go somewhere, they have no idea what's going on. Surely in the back of their minds, they must think, right, what are the negatives here if we're doing this? Could it be there's something on the other side that's gonna, when we appear, go, oh, hang on, what's this thing? All right, let's go have a look at this.
I think you nailed it.
Bring back something horrible.
Nailed it with that quote of, just because we can doesn't mean we should.
Yeah.
Because that goes for a lot of science nowadays.
Yeah.
Just because we can doesn't mean we should. And how did he get funded for this? You think about the logistics of how he created this. This is a multi-billion dollar plan.
I would say that this was probably a military contract for whatever they.
Yeah.
But and the whole thing about the core is, it uses a black hole to do this. So they put a black hole on a ship to bend fabric. And even again, Stark says it's like, you're using a black hole, the most destructive force in the universe. Is this a good idea? Why on earth did you do this? And I remember a few years ago, the Stern facility in Switzerland.
Oh, the CERN one, yeah.
The CERN one. We're like, oh, guys, we can create a black hole using this tech. We're going to turn on. And so many people went, no. Don't create a black hole on Earth.
Yeah.
Because if that goes wrong, we're screwed.
There was when that happened, there was a website going around that you could click on that had a live feed from it, and when you went on it, it was a live feed of inside CERN, and suddenly something was flashing, something was going wrong, and people were, what's going on? It's confusing. And then suddenly this explosion happened, and a hole opened. And it just started getting bigger and bigger and enveloping that camera. And then the next camera went. And then I genuinely stopped and looked outside for a second. Because it got me. It was bullshit. It was completely fake, but it got me. Obviously, it's not real.
Yeah, but again, it just goes to show again, like Smith says, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it.
Yeah.
And obviously, science, science has given us a lot of great things. It really has. But at the same time, science also gave us the nuclear bomb. So
yeah.
And obviously, as time goes forward, we look to try and get out amongst the stars and things. It does beg the question. It's like, right, what if someone actually built this thing? You must think, right, before you turn that on, have you really thought this through completely? Because we're going to go somewhere. We don't know anything about it. We have no idea what's there. It could be we land there, and there is some sort of weird parasite that will infect us, and if we bring that back, is that it? Is that game over?
Can't go back.
And that is why you can have horror in space, because space is terrifying. There could be something out there that's like that, just waiting for us to turn up, for it to go, oh, hi there. Yeah, you're mine now. You're fucked.
It's a good bookend. That's a good bookend, because that's what we started with. That's good. I like that. Very good.
We started with, you're fucked. We end with, you're fucked.
Yeah. So, all in all, I think the way I described it, it's not amazing, but at the same time, it's still great. I still like it.
It makes,
it's an enjoyable film.
It's good because it throughout the whole film, it sends you these questions and makes you think, oh, okay, yeah, I never thought about it like that way. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It asks you some questions that you think, you're still thinking about after you watch it.
One last thing I'm going to send to you. There is a Blu-ray and 4K edition of Event Horizon you can get, but this is a special 4K edition which you might like.
I have to get this.
You get with it, it's 150 quid. You get with it a blueprint poster of the Event Horizon, steelbook, art postcards, badges, special features DVD. It's a really cool collection. And it's region free because it's 4K. Yeah.
Oh, that looks so cool.
But yeah, folks, if you've not seen it, we've probably not described the plot to you very well because we've been a bit everywhere. No. And if you've listened to this without seeing it, more credit to you, but still do go watch it.
Yes, do. It's on Netflix.
And if you have seen it and you've enjoyed this podcast, go watch it again. Because it is on Netflix, yeah. Right. We can't talk about next week because it's a mystery.
Yes, I have to send you a potential film for that.
But much like the Beaster Bunny, it'll be on the same lines as that. So if you enjoyed the Beaster Bunny, you will hopefully enjoy the next one. But we can't say too much about it. But after that, your Christmas present will be Black Christmas, the OG slasher. Oh, right, yes. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yep, I'm going to go eat an apple turnover with a cup of tea.
So if you want to find this and all our past content, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Amazon/Audible, and YouTube. Always searching The Dreadcast.
Yes. You can send us an email at thedreadcastpodcast@gmail.com. Send us anything. We don't mind. We will read it all.
Yep.
You can find us on TikTok at The Dreadcast. You can find us there as well. And you can find us on our own social medias, which are down there.
Yes, they're beneath us. Yeah.
Looking region.
And you find Dreadcast on Instagram, _Dreadcast. Yes, so, I think we're getting tired. We shouldn't record so late.
No.
I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. But until next time.
Stay creepy.
You did spooky last time.